For 8 o'clock, let's get started. Jacob, Julia, Chloe, John, Colin, Jammer, Eleni, Jazia, Molly, Sarah, Trey, Joe, Chase,
here.
Yeah, Brighton,
Here.
Maxwell, Brighton, Jayla, Jack,
Here.
Annalise. All right. Harun,
Here.
right. Does anybody come in later? All right, Julia is here. All right. And Joe, you're here. Right. Oh, hi. Take you out. All right, so we'll get started. Okay, we'll pick it up from the point where we left. I'm just going to do a real quick recap, and just before I do a recap, I will show you again where we are in the course. So you can see that today is April 7th, and we are on. We started talking about persuasion in our last class, and we covered Monroe's motivation. First, we covered is Maslow's hierarchy, Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs. We went to the whole prism, and then after that, we covered Monroe's motivated sequence, which were the 5 steps for persuasion. We covered all of that. So today, what we are going to do is, though we covered the concepts, we were pretty high on theory in our last class. We didn't get to practice. Okay, so today I have, I'm going to repeat some of the concepts as helpful repetition, and then we are going to practice the concepts. We're going to talk about argument and counter argumentation. So I'm going to introduce that as well in class. And then we have I have a few things that you need to do together in class as a project. Okay, so that's what the plan is today. So that what happens is that we not only do we understand how persuasion works, how argument and counter argumentation work, we are also able to exercise it in class. We are able to use those concepts and create persuasive arguments in class. So that's what we're going to do today. So that's the fun part, right? So after today's session, and I'll kind of slightly give you an introduction. On the 12th, we will start talking about Toulmin's model of argumentation, which is derived, if you don't understand, Maslow's hierarchy of needs and how persuasion works, I think that's a good starting point for us to understand Toulmin's model of argumentation in detail. Okay, which will happen next week, and then we have actually 3 more classes before we start with our debating. So it's going to be a lot of concepts, a lot of things that we're going to do in class, one after another. Okay, so this is how it looks, class, for all of us. This is how the next few weeks will look. Okay, having said that, today I think some of you are staying back to do your speeches, so we may get done a little early today. Class gets done at 9:35, so I think we should get done at around 9:20ish. So and then hopefully I know that there's a class right here, so if we can utilize the space, otherwise we have to go all the way back. There's a place that I've identified, and then we'll all go back, and then you can redo your speeches, those of you who have been asked to redo it. Okay, all right. Okay, not this one. Let me just go here. Okay. I'm just going to do a quick recap. So we talked about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and this is the prism that we talked about in in our last class. So as I told you that this is controversial. People think that this is not the most important. Maybe this is the most important. Whatever it is, this is a cumulative kind of analysis of how the human mind works. And typically, most people, in an average assumption is that people are going to think about physiological needs first, safety needs, love, esteem, and self-actualization. We talked about all of that, and you guys gave me topics. Remember, when we covered some of the topics on board. You talked about topics, you went into it in depth, and then you gave me some persuasive speech topics that come out of it. So we talked about that, and the next thing that we discussed was Monroe's motivated sequence, was this one, right? It is a 5-step process, and we talked about the attention step, need step, satisfaction, visualization, and action step. All right. So again, a recap is Dr. Alan Monroe, a professor based out of Purdue University, created this. He would go to different car places where car sales rooms and car show places, and he would hear how people who do sales there, how they talk, and he went to several of them and said, something is working. There is something that works here. Why not understand what the pattern is? And success leads clues, and we know that, and we need to do pattern recognition. And he, of course, being who he is, he created a model for us that anybody could use to persuade an audience. And called Monroe's motivated sequence, and then these are the 5 steps that you need to have. As I mentioned to you, this is something that we have always talked about. Attention step, that's not a big deal. You always need to get the attention of the audience when you are beginning your conversation, right? So that's something that you've always done. I think by far the two most important steps are the need step and the action step, okay, in the course, and that makes it persuasive. Whenever you're going to, and you'll be given some topics in class today, okay, to do this, to practice this. So I would like you really to think about the need. Why is it that you want to implement this policy? So you got to really think about the need, and the way you got to think about need is need slash problem. Why is there a problem? Why if we don't have this policy, or if we don't have this product, what problem or what mess is it causing? Okay, so you got to think about it that way. For that, you need to do some research. While you're doing this, and this is something that I did not talk to you, and I want to kind of wait for some time and then make sure that you kind of get your feet wet in when you're thinking about this model. And then I said, okay, next class I'll talk about it. While you're thinking about your topic in the needs section, you always parallelly have to think about how people are going to attack your decision. Okay, got to always preclude that. Okay, that this is my argument, this is what my need is, but you know what? Some people might not agree with me. And if they don't agree with me, how are they going to counter argue with me? That's what a debater does. Always precludes what the counter arguments. You have an argument, what the counter arguments will be, and kind of engages and researches those. Doesn't say that, oh, I don't want to hear this because that's not my point of view. Actually looks at those counter arguments, holds them, researches them, and sees the loopholes in them. Okay, because that's going to come handy when you get counter arguments while debating, and you have to argue back. Okay, so that's what. So when you're doing the needs, so make sure that you start also thinking about just not the need. When you're thinking about the argument and how do you build that argument, start thinking about the counter arguments that you might get. Satisfaction is when you, of course, when you create that need, you create that problem, and then this is almost like a problem. You think about need as a problem, think about satisfaction as a solution to the problem. Okay, that's when you either promote your product, promote your idea, your movement, your thought, your philosophy, whatever you're trying to sell. Okay, that's when you say that this is the problem, and this is my solution to you. This is the solution that I have. This what it does. The next one is visualization. He really saw this happening when he went to car sales showrooms, and then he saw that this is your car. These are the features in the car. This is how your car is going to look, and this is just right for your family. Family of 4, your kids can fit in here, and this is going to take you on long trips, vacation, all of that. So you find that process of visualization pretty helpful. People always want to imagine through visuals. People want to imagine through pictures. Okay, just like the name implies, what pictures, what images are you going to give the audience that will make your product sell even further? So this is again a strategy, all right? So some people, you can use negative and positive visualization. So, or you can do a compare contrast method. You can do a little bit of positive visualization and a little bit of negative visualization. People don't want to do negative visualization for a long time because audience doesn't like to kind of constantly hear about the negatives that will happen. So if you do it, touch and go. Okay, so you kind of create a slight sense of discomfort, and then you go into the positive visualization, which we call as a compare contrast method. Okay, so positive. So you first of all you say all the beautiful things. Again, visualization. You're creating images. All the beautiful things, all the nice things that will happen if your proposal or if your argument is accepted, and all the things that will not happen well if your argument is not adopted and if people don't act on what you're trying to say. So that's positive and negative visualization for you. Action step is just the last step that makes it persuasive. But all of you need to have an action step, all right, where you say that, okay, now that you've heard me, these are the things that you've got to do to make an action, to kind of close the deal. It's almost like giving your credit card and buying the car, or paying for your first loan, or just getting into a contract with the company. where you make a commitment. It's either a financial commitment or a, or a philosophical commitment, or, joining a movement, or supporting a product, joining a campaign where you're actually, taking part in the movement. So it has to be a commitment, all right? So you actually ask, this is what makes it persuasive. You ask the audience about an action that we take, okay? So are there any questions, class, regarding these five process steps so far? Any steps that seems slightly confusing or slightly muddy where you want me to give you some more examples? Okay, so now what I have in mind for you, let's see how many of us are here today. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 11 of us. Okay, so we are an odd number, but that's okay. So I would like you to, that's the best way. I'm just thinking, maybe 2, that'll be fun. So 2. All right, 2 members in each group, okay? So I will have 11 of you, so have about 5 groups, 2 in each group. Yeah, so this is what I have for you, okay? Where did it go? All right, so I created this one for you, and slide share from beginning. All right, so I have these topics for you, all right? I want you to create an argument. So let's say you can have your pick, whichever topics. These are the topics. This one, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 topics. Okay. So I have 5 topics, and there's 11 of you. So what I want you to do is think about the topic. All right. I want somebody to be, if you're doing this topic, I need two groups to do this topic. So one does for the motion, of course, that yes, we want to create a parking garage on campus, and the other, what happened here? No. All right. So one does create a parking garage on campus, the other one argues back and says, no, we don't want a parking garage on campus. Okay. So I want to hear this back and forth that will go on. The second group, if you're interested in this one or reduce the cost of tuition, one group says yes and the other group says no. Okay. Maybe this one. Whichever topics that you want to choose. So let's put you into groups. Joe, you may have to move at the back, or maybe ask Brighton or Jamar to join you. Which group, which topic you're the Eleni and Jack? Which topic do you all want to go with? Huh?
We can do reduce the constitution.
Yes, for the motion or against the motion?
The motion.
For the motion, okay. So I need somebody who has to do reducing the cost of tuition against the motion. Who's going to do that? I'll assume that you're some of the high up administrative staff at North Central. Joe, why don't you do that? Reducing the cost of tuition? Huh?
Sure.
Okay, so against, all right. So who do you want to be partner with?
I'm going the back seat.
Jammer, okay, all right. So formulate your Jammer. You're going to do reducing the cost of tuition against the motion, which means you don't want the tuition cost. So I'm going to think about you as the president of the college. So, all right, who wants to do the next? Which other topic? What's your pick? Jacob and Julia, maybe if we're sitting the same. Which topic we are going to do?
More parking garage on campus.
Or parking garage on campus. So somebody has to do no parking garage on campus. Can we have Chase and Harun do that? Okay, no parking garage on campus. Okay, all right. So, and then almost done. So we have Molly and I think Molly, Colin, and Brighton. So Which one do you all want to do? There are only few left. Which one do you all want?
Just the Peter's access.
That one? Okay, replace for the motion?
Against.
Against the motion. Okay. So, all right. For the motion or against?
I think four.
For the motion. Okay. So, then one of you will be by yourself. Who's comfortable working by? Okay, you will. Okay, all right. Thank you. So you're doing, Molly, you're doing for the motion, right? No, you said against. Right. She's doing against the motion, then Colin and Brighton, please do for the motion. Okay, that you want to replace HP computers with now. Molly is saying, okay, so start working on it. Formulate your argument. Everybody should preclude, should understand and think about, while you're doing your research, understand how your opponent will kind of counter argue with you as well. Okay, so create a 5-step process where you have the attention step, you have the need step, you have satisfaction, visualization, and action step. Create that as a speech. Okay, and then alongside create parallelly 3 or 4 ways that you think that your opponent will be counter arguing. Create that and figure it out. If these are their counter arguments, how do I counter that? Okay, so take about let me put your names here. Oh, what happened again? That's strange. Who is doing parking garage against the motion? Please remind me. Oh, okay. Molly, you're doing against the motion, right? HP computers? Yeah, okay, got it. Colin and who else? Oh, they, right.
Yes.
Yeah.
I also have the slides for persuasive speech. If you're trying to go back to Monroe's motivated sequence, it's already there on your Blackboard. Let's start the conversation at around in 15 minutes, 8:45.
which again is in the Chevy Chase area and Bethesda area. This is along Wisconsin Avenue as well. So heads up if you live along Massachusetts or Wisconsin Avenue. Get in there, buddy. Yeah, hey man, I want you to get down in the basement. We have a tornado. So I want to make sure you can get downstairs as soon as you can. Okay. Yeah, get down there right now. Get that bed in that bedroom down there, and just kind of wait for 10, 15 minutes. Okay. Do it now. All right, thanks, buddy. All right, so that was just kind of for my kids because I know what my kids are doing right now. They're probably online gaming and they're not seeing this. So we have a tornado warning. Hopefully they saw it on their phones. Many of us got our phones in the newsroom. I heard phones go.
You guys done? Drummer and Joe, you guys done? Okay, all right. Is everybody live? Right? Okay. Oh, okay. So then we'll get started. Okay. All right. Everybody's done. We'll get started. Let's go according to the order now. So I'll go exactly to according to the order. Let's hear from our first topic. The presenters, please come here. Let's see. Create a parking garage. We have Jack and Eleni. Okay, create a parking garage on campus, right? That's what's, no? Which one did y'all do?
We did,
Sorry.
lowering tuition.
Oh, lowering tuition. So who did this one? Create a parking. Oh, you guys did that. Sorry, I'm sorry about that. Okay, so we'll have Julia and Jacob. Sorry about that. Jacob and Jack and Eleni did reducing the. I just sweat. Okay. Jack and Eleni did this. Sorry about that. Okay. All right. Please come here. Both of you, let's hear from you. The topic is creating a parking garage on campus. For the motion, right?
Yeah.
First we hear for the motion, then we hear against the motion. People, if you're doing against motion, make your notes. What is the argument? Because right now you don't know. So here the arguments, create your notes. All right, start.
So we said, for the motion, it would get rid of the remote lot and also, you would create more space for cars to park, and we'd also be able to have larger events to host, and it would automatically bring in just more money.
And because it's bringing in more money, the parking spot space isn't gonna cost as much as it normally would, because you have more people in the events and more people can park. It's also a lot more efficient, especially because the remote lot is so far away. So if we had a parking garage close to campus or on campus, it would just be much easier to access your car. And you wouldn't really have to use the shuttle as much, which would also bring in more money.
Then you would also, someone might ask, wouldn't that just, like take up a lot of space? And I would say that, you can put that on top of the J lot, which is already kind of a, parking garage in itself. And so if you just add on to that, it would create more parking spaces without automatically, reducing the amount of green space we have on campus.
Okay, so that was the, you precluded how people are going to argue and kind of bring, okay, all right. Any other counter arguments that came to your mind, which you think that's your,
People could say that it might be a little bit more noisier, but you kind of just have to take like, do the positives way outweigh the negatives a little bit more, and this stays for you.
okay. All right, okay, thank you. All right. Let's hear.
Yeah, so although having a parking garage would definitely be like convenient, we think the school has more pressing needs than having a parking garage, like having a dining hall with like edible food and like having more places to live, like improving rent life and our living conditions and stuff like that.
Basically just like putting money in better areas. I think like if you were to build a parking garage, like it would be good, but like when you move up in like class and stuff, you get to park closer like to the to like your residence and stuff. So like I think it's like freshman year you kind of deal with it and then it's kind of like done after that. But I think like the money could definitely go towards better things. The food has been something that's been a problem for years, but also especially just like living on campus this year, it was not very good. So if we had another place to live or put people or another suite style kind of place, then I think that'd be a lot better than parking garage in my opinion.
All right, okay. I want you to hold your thought here. I want to ask Julia and Jacob. They kind of talked about they through their argumentation, they de-signified or they demystified the importance of parking garage and they shifted the focus to making better food, better meat banks. How do you want to counter argue with that position? They kind of made your issue of slightly a non-issue and kind of de-emphasize the importance of it. How do you want to?
Well, if you have more parking spaces like a parking lot, there will be more, the availability to have bigger events on campus will increase, which you'll bring in more money and then you can fund other things like better food and better housing.
my starting point. Thank you. I'm just going to talk to you about a few things that we need to understand, and then you're going to go to the next person. Okay, so for this, I would like to show you the slide that I have for you here. I call it the refutation. Here, 1 second here. All right. So, so counter argument and refutation. Okay. So what you just heard, I'm going back again here to the first. Okay. So what you just heard here, we had two groups. The topic was creating a parking garage on campus, and then we had Jacob and Julia talking about the importance of creating that. And fundamentally, what they said is that if you do this, not only will it be convenient for students, but it will add revenue. We will get money out of that, and that is very interesting. And we had never thought about how parking garage would actually generate revenue. I thought so many people talk about the convenience part of it. Interesting. So that's what they said for the motion, that it's not only convenience, it is also a money generating option. Okay. So that was their position. That was their argument, and then we had the Chase and Harun come here, and they looked at the topic, and they did completely their approach was to reduce the importance of it. And they said that parking garage is not the most important thing here, because our need plan is horrible, and we need to work on that one. There are other more important priorities, and once we reach those priorities, that's going to be much more helpful than this. So what they did is just like a typical counter argument. They did demystify the importance of it. That's a strategy. Okay. So that was against we heard for the motion and against the motion. All right. So now what happens in counter argument? How I'm going to talk about some more ways to do this. Okay. So going to the slide here. All right, here. So we call this counter argument and refutation. So fancy terms. All right. So your first thing was your starting argument. Both the for the motion and the against the motion had their starting argument, which was your first argument, which was your first argument, right? Then when this happens in a debate situation, I usually, the kind of debates that I've done, there are different forms of debate, and we're going to talk about that. The one that I have done at COD and North Central also hosts debates. I usually am invited as a judge, and what I do, we do parliamentary form of debates where it's the same thing. Basically, I actually have two teams, right? Two members in one team, and which is the first of all the ruling team, and then we have the opposing team. I have the same format. It's just different names here. Okay, and then believe it or not, I'm digressing a little bit here, just to give you a little bit of a backstory. So people who are in debate clubs, they do this on a weekly basis. So they talk about different topics and topics, and then they go back and forth with each other, right? So they have these weekly meetings. And the reason I'm saying this is that they don't have like 5 days or 3 days to prepare the topic. The panel decides the topic. As a judge, I come into the room. I have the ruling party here. I have the opposing party here, and they give me, even I don't know the topic. So there are 3 topics. Okay, the ruling party gets the first pick. So I give it to them, and they look at the 3 topics, take out 1 topic. Then I give it to the opposing party. There are 2 more topics left. They take out the topic that they don't like. So then I said, okay, this is the topic. I read it out. All right, and 15 minutes is all they have. The ruling party can stay in the room or something. I think maybe 3 of actually the judge, the ruling party, we all leave the room, and we decide to come back at exactly in 15 minutes. 15 minutes is all that we have to prepare. Okay, and the strategies that happen, okay, it's just fascinating to see that how they prepare. They already have content knowledge because that's what they do. I mean, you can ask them, how do they know about this? They're doing this for forever, like for 3, 6, 7, 8 months, 11 months, like they're doing this. But they try to see, they actually look at counter arguments. These are my keys. This is what they're typically, they'll preclude, they'll understand this is what their main argument will be. How do we attack them? And how does that, how how solid will be my attack. Okay, now saying that, we call this argument, first argument, and then you counter argue. For counter argument, after you hear the counter argument, like we just did, we heard their argument, then we heard, if we think about them, their first argument, we heard that. Let's say this was a debate situation. I would probably call their argument first argument, second argument, or counter argument. And then once they hear their counter argument, how do they refute? Which they did. They refute. They go back to the argument and say, this is the way our argument was attacked, and this is how I'm going to defend my argument. We call that refutation. Fancy names, all right? So we call this counter argument and refutation in a debate situation. So what are some of the effective ways of doing this, all right? First is, of course, when you hear, for those of you, when you hear your ruling parties or the persons or the motion's claim, you first start hearing and restate the claim in your mind. Quickly, once you hear the speech, you start to restate the claim in your mind. Tell us, where do you agree? You have to come from a position of, and that's the rule of a debate, is try to find a place where you meet them. You say that, yes, I agree with this, however, then tell us, how do you differ? Okay, so that becomes hard, because if you're in two very different polar views, how do I find a place where I agree? So you got to find a place, and that's when you start the conversation. This is where I agree, and this is where I disagree. When you disagree, this is the strategy. How, where, when, how, who, what, where, when, like a journalist, okay? How do you disagree? Why do you disagree? Who do you disagree with? Where and when, okay? So these are certain things, these are starters. You can think about this, that you probably, given the example that you guys said, maybe you do not agree with how the plan will work, how the parking garages will be constructed, because that will cause a lot of pollution, that will cause a lot of noise, and you don't agree with that. Who you don't agree with, perhaps the contractors who probably do not have safe, clean practices. Who is going to create that parking garage? What the whole concept, then that's where you're negating the what of it is you don't agree with the fact that there should be any parking garage. Campus has much different issues, and that's what they should be doing. Where you disagree with where the parking garage, so some jail lot that you mentioned, you disagree with that. You don't think parking garage should be there. And when, if they are saying that we need to start the project today, tomorrow, or in 1 year, you disagree with that. So these are certain ways you can think about it. So you summarize your counterclaim, and once you are doing this, once you hear the argument and it's your chance to go, then you summarize it. Okay, you summarize it and you produce your counter argument. We call it counterclaim, or I'm not going to take this right now, not confuse you. It says counterclaim. Okay. Then the next slide is, what are some of the strategies? Okay. I just told you that how, what, when, where, by, who. That's a way of looking at it when debaters are thinking, how do I attack this position? Okay. This is something that it's a direct denial. Okay. It's like, we should have a parking garage? No, we shouldn't have a parking garage. So direct denial. They say black and you say white. There isn't too many layers to it. Okay. And then you say why we shouldn't. So that's a direct denial. When this is important, because I think you guys primarily did this. You challenged the relevance of the opposition. You challenged the relevance. You said that you kind of demystified it, and you said that we don't need this right now. We need to think about other issues. So you're challenging the relevance. This is a very common one to do this. You challenge the relevance of the issue being debated. Okay. And you can also attack the reasons. If you think that their reasoning for the parking garage, for example, they said that it's a money making, it's going to be profitable and it's going to really get money for the campus. If you think that reasoning is wrong, and there are other ways to get money, much more profitable ways than getting a parking garage, attack that. Okay. Then you can also attack the evidence. Okay. So sometimes, the proof that they're saying that this, we do do this, we do that, we do this, and we create the parking garage. You said that no, your evidence is wrong. It's dated. You cannot do that. We cannot get clearance. You attack the evidence or the proof of the claim. Okay. And this is difficult. I won't do this one right now. We'll talk about it later in class, the last strategy here. And once you figure out a way to attack their position, you build, you counter argue, and after they hear your counter argument, the opposing party will then create a refutation or a place, which exactly you guys did it in a 3-step method: argument, counter argument, and refutation. They did that actually. All right. So that's how it goes. Okay. So without saying this, I just wanted you to ground this through an experiment, which will come from you. You will create that and then use your example to talk to you about the different strategies. I'm going with the second group right now. All right. The second group is for the motion, we had Colin and Brighton, and then Molly is going to be against the motion. She's the only person. So, all right, Colin and Brighton, come on. And there was replace HP computers with Mac on campus. I'm not a big fan of Mac. All right.
So for one of like the big things for if they were to switch HP computers with Mac computers, is that you can transfer all of HP's information to Mac computer with an HP chip.
And also another point, many students have reportedly have problems with HP computers trying to print, save files. Mac is arguably more reliable than HP has been in the past, and the newer Macs are a lot faster, meaning quicker times to finish projects, print stuff out, and get stuff done in case of a rush before class.
Colin, I forgot what was the argument? How did you start?
The argument.
We
well,
need to
you say-
replace
say
HP
something
computers.
like
Yeah, but
rather than- it would-
what did you say, Colin, first? I missed it.
It would be that HP computers get more viruses than Mac
Okay,
computers do.
viruses are the same, but all right. That's it.
And these another thing is that I think that's all the arguments I got for mine.
Okay, so I'm just going to recap. Viruses are faster, more reliable, and what was the other one that you said?
Faster, more reliable.
Faster, more reliable, no viruses.
More
Okay,
up to date, basically.
more up to date. All right.
Like somehow students don't own their own computers, so they rely on school computers to do stuff. And a lot of STEM classes have programs that can't be run on Macs, they can only run on HPs or PCs. And I do think we need new computers, but it would be cheaper to buy HP instead of replacing like Macs. And Macs only seem faster and sleeker because we're comparing them to newer Macs, like the 2008 HPs.
Okay, all right. So get just helpful repetition. Just summarize it for me, please.
It's cheaper to replace them with HPs and some students rely on HP split.
Okay, all right. Cheaper and more. Okay, reliable. All right. Okay. So we have a counter. We had an argument, then we have a counter argument. I would like Brighton and Colin to restate what her claim was. 1, all right. Say where you agree with her. 2, tell us how you disagree with her. 3. You can sit there and do that.
Well, you said that modern HP computers are cheaper and comparatively to Macs. I do agree that they are cheaper. However, when comparing what students have on regard to the majority of personal laptops, those that do have their own laptops, the majority go for the Apple product so that their phones, their tablets, all of them connect together. The interconnectivity would also be reliable, hence the printing, the downloading. That way you don't have to try and buy a flash drive. You have that Apple Cloud to share.
All right, how would you refute?
Well, all the printers are HP, so we're gonna be interprinting. It's easier to print extra computers with HP.
All right, okay, so this is a good, I actually don't, this is a topic which requires a lot of information on computers. I really don't have any content knowledge, but I really like the back and forth that you guys did. I got the spirit of it. Okay, so let's move on. I'm going to let's move on with the who's doing it. Oh, okay, there you go. So we have reducing the cost of tuition at NCC. For the motion, we have Jack and Elmi, and against the motion, we have Joe and Jammer. For the motion, reducing the cost. This one I'm probably going to have.
One of the reasons that North Central and all the colleges need to lower tuition is because it'll level the playing field. There's some people that can't afford going to college, and then we're behind on getting a degree, which will probably lead to a better job. So if we lower the tuition, it'll make everyone have a better opportunity of going to college and getting a degree, not just focus on money.
Like when most of us apply to school, we obviously probably looked up tuition costs at first, just because they're like, oh, can I go here before applying? And also like most of us at North Central, like we play sports, and so it's already like we're busy. So like if we have to go get a job, that's just gonna take more time out of it.
Right.
So a lot of students work full time and have to go to school, and that just adds to a lot of stress. And like reducing tuition costs, that could just help just having students focus more on their academics. And also,
Okay, all right. So what were some of the, first of all, I want to ask you a content level. Those of you who are on sports scholarship here, do you still have to pay tuition or partially covered, or what is the?
well, the ministry doesn't give scholarships.
Oh, it doesn't. Oh, okay. All right. So, so what were some of the counter arguments that you felt that could be coming your way?
They could probably say like, well, something, maybe if we have like higher prices in like food or residence, like that stuff. But if we're already paying like this much and it's not making a difference, like just not even having a place to live next year, like having to worry about that. I feel like that's, well, if they can't figure that out now, our prices are already super high, like what are they, how can they even raise them even higher? So they're
Providing. Oh, okay. All right. Thank you. Okay, let's hear. Jammer and Joe. What do you have? This is the admin stuff.
So, we think we should not reduce the tuition amount because first, it will lead to a lower salary of faculty or members at campus. It's bad for them. And second, it would lead to a poor quality of facility. Imagine the worst like condition of cafeteria. It would be horrible. Third, it's going to lead to a less amount of scholarship offered to students. For some students, it's bad.
Reducing tuition, it can mess up like athletic departments. It can mess up the funds in athletic departments, lower funds and stuff like that. It can also, since our enrollment is moving up, we can't really reduce the tuition because if we need to make new dorms, we would need like money to do that. So we would have to like, yeah, that's it.
Okay. want you to hold on to your thought. I would like you to talk to the, 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 the ruling party and kind of restate their training. First do that, and then I'll tell you what we need to do. What did they say? How do you restate their training?
What they say,
Yes,
they state, that we should reduce the cost of tuition at NCC.
why? Why did, what was the primary thing that they were talking about? Why did they say? And why should we do it?
For like, well, they were saying like, we couldn't, well, they were basically saying, what's the reason of, reducing it if the foods and stuff are bad now? There's no reason why up the price, stuff like that.
Right, and they also talked about, I think, if I'm doing it correctly, I think you were talking about how many students will miss the opportunity to study, student attrition from campus, right? They won't consider, okay, all right. Where do you, my second part of the thing is, how do you agree with them? Where do you agree with them? When you think about what they mentioned, at what point do you agree? There has to be a place where you need to find a place where there's slight agreement.
Well, we agree with them by, when they said rising the tuition wouldn't like make a difference with the food, because if it's bad now, it's no reason like to up the money, because it's not gonna get any better, because it's already high. But if we make it lower, then it just get worse from there, so really no reason.
Okay, and then how do you disagree? How do you disagree with that plan?
So I agree, but they say apart. They say like less opportunities like for those who doesn't have a lot of money.
Yes,
But I can refute that statement by saying, so if the tuition is like not reduced, there would be a lot of like money spent that can be spent on scholarships. So
okay,
yeah, scholarships can help those students, like students who are rich, pay a lot of money.
yeah,
And those monies can be spent on like scholarships for those like
Okay.
having difficulty
so
paying money.
interestingly, I'll rephrase, that's a good idea. Joe, what you're saying that instead of raising the tuition, the school should up their game on getting donors on campus, getting a lot of alumni donations, getting money from them, and then using those funds to recruit new promising students, rather than reducing rather than reducing the cost of tuition. That's what they're saying. All right. How would you counter argue with that? How would you go back and forth with this one?
I agree with your guys' like with the donor thing, if they did it, for increase like they might be more benefits for like scholarship opportunities.
Yeah.
I think
Easier said than done.
I think that if college lowers the tuition, it's gonna bring in more students will want to come here, and people that aren't as fortunate to have the money to come here. So I think over a period of time, it'll like pay back, because there will be more students coming in at a lower tuition. It'll still you'll still make the same money, so like the facilities won't get any worse. You'll still be able to like pay that stuff and still maintain good facilities.
Wonderful, wonderful back and forth. All right, thank you, thank you. All right. So we actually finished this. All right, wonderful. So this is what I want you to do is you got a feel of this, how this works, right? This is what they do. If you want to take this further on, you can join engaging clubs. This is exactly, they will do this on steroids, right? They will constantly like ask you questions, counter arguments, research. They'll take you to few research centers, statistics, all of that will happen. Okay, it's like a class that they do, and then it becomes a habit. Right now, it might be like, oh my God, this is how do I get to agree with that? It's very hard for me. How do I think about a counter argument? This is It seems like that, and I also felt that way. But believe it or not, this is the most interesting part for me. Professionally, I love teaching argumentation and debate. I just love it. And I wasn't into it. I found it very difficult. It just happened with time. I like listening to debates. I like to talk about different positions. I just like people with different viewpoints and how they're going to attack each other and all of that. And I use this word attack. I don't want to use that. I do it in a more debate kind of a culture. We really don't want to talk about, we use the word attacking, but it's just, that's typically used, but it's more like, if you think about debate, it's understanding, it's a difference of views. And actually, the whole idea of debate is to understand, why do we have this in colleges? Why have debate? Why have argumentation? It's basically understanding two different perspectives and coming to some kind of a common ground where you don't have to accept each other's position, but you at least know where the other person is coming from. It's two different, it's like a hermeneutic, we call it hermeneutic horizons. Like that means your whole level of interpretation, your whole horizon of interpretation kind of becomes different when you engage in debates. And that's why college is not central, being a college that always does this. I'm so proud of that they're always inviting speakers with different viewpoints, and they're holding these conferences. I think 2 or 3 years back, there was a TED Talk organized by North Central, and I don't know why I couldn't go, but that was a Naperville chapter. They actually invited, and North Central hosted it. So if they did it, then I would actually have one class with all of you, take all of you to the TED Talk and watch it. I don't think this year they happen. And after 2 years we spent in COVID, now nothing happened during that time. So, all right. So this is, now what I want you to do is start thinking about topics, okay? I would like you to start thinking about, because I would need you to do this. I want, when we do our debates, these are some of the topics that I would like you to, I'm just sharing this with you because that's what I wanted to do. And I want you to kind of make your pick, okay? I want to know which are the topics that interest you. I'm going to show you the slide here. Here. No, not this one. 1 second. This one, no, not this one. All right, that's it. I knew it. Yeah, so these were some of the topics that we did in class. All right. And don't know where did I lose that one. 1 second. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so I would like you to look at these topics here. Okay, so I don't think I have to, let's see, maybe these are too many topics. I want you to tell me what's your pick. What kind of topics are you gravitating towards? Okay, so I'll just put it here for you on your Blackboard so that because it's a long document and I don't think we can scroll enough. So I'm just going to put it on Blackboard for you, and you get to tell me right now what topics are you debating, are you inclining towards, okay? So that we start working on our debate topics. Okay, so again, this is what I have for you. You don't have to choose the topic that I'm giving you, because you can choose any topic, but I'm just doing it for you to start thinking about it, because that's what we need to do as soon as possible. So in class assignment, yes, that's how it should be doing. Okay, so discussion board, no. All right, here we go. Yeah. Okay. I just submitted it on, okay, oh, sorry, 1 second here. I will. Okay, so about 10 points I need to know. So in class assignment, due date today by 9:30. 9:30 a.m. All right, and has 10 points. Okay, so that's it's a twofold thing that I'm asking you to do. All of you get into your Blackboard, please, class. Okay. All right, so you're on Blackboard. Once you're on Blackboard, please click in class assignment. And these are some of the topics. And once you click in class assignment, go to the last one. You know, so it has to be at the bottom and you can't scroll any further. So this is the one that you should see, debate topics. Did you all get it? Okay. All right. So first, it's an assignment that I want to see whether you apply, you've understood Maslow's hierarchy of needs. That's a separate assignment. But the first thing that I want you to do is, I'm sorry that the first sports did not get highlighted in black like big. So you can see that sports is your first column. If you're interested in sports, do you want to choose a topic from there? Education, if that's what and you guys told me what your interests are like, society, environment, science and technology, social media, government, religion, parenting and family, entertainment, art and humanities, health. Okay, so what are some of the topics that you're gravitating towards? Create the best, maybe 5 topics that you really like. That's the first thing. Choose 5 topics that you really like. And then what I'm going to ask you to do, which will be a little different. Once you do that, I'll tell you what you need to do. Give me 5 topics that you really like. So while you're choosing the topics, this is what I also want you to do, as many as possible. You don't have to, if you don't have the time to attend, do all of them, that's fine. Just do as many as you can. I've solved the first 2 for you. For example, you got to think about the topics, and we have not forgotten about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Remember that. So if you hear the topic, let's say the first topic, should high school athletes get tested for steroids? What kind of need are we talking about here? High school, athletes should, it's a debatable topic, should they get safety tested for steroids? I think this is a safety need, right? I want you to fill it out. I want you to tell me, look at the topic and be able to connect it with Maslow's hierarchy of needs. The 5 needs that we talked about were physiological needs, safety needs, love and belongingness, self-esteem, and self-actualization. See how many can you do. Look at the topics, and I've done the first 2 for you. The 5 topics that you pick, at least the 5 topics that you pick that you are really comfortable with, I'm going to actually start asking you to speed up material on it as soon as possible. That's what I would want to do. But the 5 topics that you've chosen, give me the need associated with it. I want to see whether you're able to make that connection. I've solved the first 2 for you here. And submit this here so that I can give you credit for your participation. Yes, I will.
Can you put the 5 things on the border?
On
Can you
the,
repeat like the 5 things?
okay. All right. What was it? It's actually available on your first. If you go to your Blackboard, pull it, go to Blackboard, go to instructor PowerPoints, and then you will see the last slide, which is for Space's speech. And it should be there. And when I can pull it up as well here. This was Maslow's hierarchy of needs, physiological needs, safety needs. Here you go. This is it. But it's also there. So. Let's start discussing in a couple of minutes. All right, let's hear from you. Who wants to go? Julia, would you like to start the discussion? What are the 5 topics that you've chosen? And tell us what the needs associated with it.
So one I've thought of is the death penalty should be banned. That goes with self-actualization.
Morality.
Yeah, morality.
Okay.
And then there's another one, professional female athletes should be paid professional athletes. And that almost related to like safety in relation to like employment and stable income.
Okay, employment safety. It could also be a self-esteem.
Yeah, it's
That's
wrong.
okay.
And then I said supremacist groups should not be able to hold public events. And that I thought also kind of related to self-actualization, like morality.
Morality.
And then the one I thought was interesting was birth order is associated with personality. And I said love and belonging because it relates to family.
Yes.
And then I think it was on. Oh yeah. It was should the birth control pill be free to everyone? And I said yes. So that's safety and
Safe.
everyone having those resources.
Okay. Okay. So now to ask, if you have to take out 4 of these and have just a 1 topic with you, which one would that be?
I'd probably say the death penalty one because I feel like I could talk about that.
Okay. So do you want to do that for your? Okay. All right. Got your pick. All right. Let's move with who wants to go next? Molly, would you like to answer?
So first one was should teachers earn more or less based on how their students' performance and express? I said the need was safety, so like,
Right.
and I said should nuns and priests become genderless roles? I said it was self-actualization.
Okay.
And then should countries be allowed to impose a national religion on its citizens? And I said self-actualization.
Okay.
And then is social media distorting democracy? It could be safety if it becomes like dangerous, or it could be esteem because it could like be disrespectful to democracy.
Right. Right.
And then should all public restrooms be all gender?
Okay. And if you have to choose one, if let's say you only allowed to keep 1, what would that be?
Probably the teachers learning more or less.
Because because you're into education. All right. Okay. So is that going to be a topic?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Okay. Right.
Starting off, should all schools have mandatory art or music courses in their curriculum?
Okay.
Self-actualization.
Right.
Is music therapy effective? Safety, esteem, and self-actualization,
Okay. Safety.
depending on the situation, it could fit into all 3.
Right. Okay.
Should schools place greater emphasis on the arts programs? Love and belonging, self-esteem, and self-actualization.
Okay. Right.
Should you choose your major based on your interest or potential salary? That's more of safety.
Safety.
And then are GPAs harmful or helpful? Safety and esteem.
All right.
Two.
So what would your 1, if you could only keep 1?
I'm thinking is music therapy effective?
Okay. In a background into music. All right. Okay. So that's it. Yes, Jacob. Yeah.
I was just gonna go.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. Yeah.
Should college be free at an undergraduate level? I said self-actualization.
Okay.
Is it better to have children at a young or older age? I said love and belongingness.
Okay.
Should government support and implement universal health care? I said safety.
Okay.
Should schools be required to provide laptops to all students? I said self-actualization.
All right.
And should cyberbullying have the same repercussions as in-person bullying? I said self-esteem.
Self-esteem. Right. Very well done. 1 pick.
Probably the universal health care one.
Okay. All right. Is that what you want to be
Yeah.
doing? Okay. So you already have your pick, so you can start doing research class. Eleni, what do you have?
Okay, so I said irregular social media, actions, and I say psychological.
Okay.
Should
Physiological, right?
Or
Physiological.
yeah, sorry. Should the birth control pill be free for everyone? And I said under like safety.
Right.
Are GPAs harmful or helpful? Self-esteem.
Right.
Should everyone be paid a living wage regardless of their employment? And I thought that would also fall under safety.
Safety.
And then should scientists invest more or less money in cancer research? And I said safety.
Safety for that. And your pick?
I'm not for sure.
Not
right now,
Okay.
but maybe our GPAs.
GPA. All right. Who's going to go? Colin, let's hear from you.
My computer's died, so I'm just like, finishing my phone.
Okay. Harun?
Yeah, so I picked, should college athletes be able to make money off their merchandise? I just put self-actualization.
Okay.
And then I put, should there be an age limit on social media? I put safety.
All right.
And then should sports teams be able to recruit young athletes without a top degree? I put safety.
All right.
And that includes the best or worst president of all time. And I put self-actualization.
Okay.
And then it should societies colonize the finance and it's self-actualization.
Okay. And what would be your pick out of all these? Pick only keep one.
Just for, should sports teams be able to recruit young athletes without a top degree?
All right. All right. So should we, are you going to do this topic?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. All right. James.
I had mine pulled up, but they just went away because I tried to go to the PowerPoint to find the self-actualization and all that stuff.
Right.
So it took away like my answer stuff, but
Oh, okay.
mine was like based on like the sports and athletes.
Okay. Okay.
I think the one that I want to do is like, should sports teams be able to recruit young athletes without a college degree?
Oh, okay. All right. All right. Jamar.
All I did was the spanking children be illegal, shaking needs.
Okay.
Another one I did, so students be able to bring their cell phone to school, shaking needs as well.
Okay.
I also did music therapy effective,
Okay.
assess self-esteem.
Okay.
I did our GPAs, harmful or helpful self-esteem. And then I did, so professional female athletes be paid the same as professional male athletes. I did self-actualization.
Okay. All right. And what would be a pick? You can only keep one.
Probably should professional female athletes be paid the same as professional male athletes?
Joe.
First, should college be free at the undergraduate level? I could, belongingness. And second, should students be able to bring their cell phones to school life for safety?
Okay.
Third, should guns be allowed in public space? I could safety.
Safety.
And fourth, should people be mindful not recycling? I could.
I think that will be both physiological and safety.
Yeah.
Because if we need to have a safe environment for us to live. Yeah. And then yeah. Okay.
But if should the government support and implement universal health care? I would say.
Okay. All right. So you are a safety person. All right. So if you could choose one, Joe, that only one that you could keep.
I would choose, should the government support and implement universal health care?
All right. So is that going to be a topic?
Yeah.
Maybe. All right. Okay. Thank you very much, class. We will begin. We will get another, get into even more deeper in our next class. We'll be talking about movement, model of argumentation. We'll be doing exercises in class. If you pick your topic, it's time for you to pick your topic and start reading material. Okay. And those of you who've been asked to stay back, please stay back. And I don't think we can use this. I use the whole class time. So we have to go outside and do the speech. Okay. So we have to figure out the place. It's going to be not that far. So all of just join me. Hi.
Real quick, I was
Yeah.
looking at the schedule again because I couldn't see it from back there.
Yeah.
April 21st, debate speeches 2. That date rang a bell, and that's why I noticed.
Oh, what happened?
It's Honors Day on the
Oh,
April
no
21st.
classes. Okay.
So
Okay, then I have
Yeah.
to. Wow, I didn't know that. Okay.
I just wanted to double check that I wasn't wrong on
Okay.
things.
All right. Thank you for letting me know. I'll just
No
look
problem.
into it. Okay.
All right.
Okay. Huh. Wow.